Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to make this look, which is obviously not a very natural look. It's more of a sort of a extreme purple-ish look. Basically I wanted to do purple ombre lips, and then I decided why not do my eyebrows as well while I'm at it. So yeah, that's sort of how this look came to be. So let's get started. Okay, today I'm starting out with the Catrice Prime and Fine primer, because I want to use primer more often. And I really want this look to be flawless, so I'm just applying that everywhere where I go shiny or have visible pores, or you know, whatever, wherever my foundation tends to crease the first. And yeah. Okay, today I'm using the Yves Rocher Zero Default Flawless Skin Foundation, and as you can probably see, it's slightly too dark for me. Which is usually the case with sample versions, but I realized I have like a lot of sample versions lying around. And it's the ways not to use them, so I decided to use them. And I'll just try to make it lighter with a lighter powder later on. Okay, that foundation worked really well actually. It's too bad it's the wrong color, but I do like the coverage and everything. And now I'm just using concealer. It's the Catrice Camouflage cream as usual. In the shade Ivory, also as usual. Not as usual is that I'm now using the pointed foundation brush by Real Techniques. I used to use this fluffy, well, this brush. This one, but however I still also use that for eyeshadow, and it got sort of annoying that I kept having concealer on my eyeshadow brush basically. But I do have to admit that I do actually prefer a very soft brush for my concealer, especially underneath my eyes. Simply because I think the effect is, yeah, just prettier. So I'm probably just going to look for a better, or you know, another soft brush basically, so that I have a separate one for concealer. And I'm also using this to highlight, obviously. I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with this brush, but I just prefer a softer one. And then it's time for powder. I'm using the Catrice Prime and Fine powder as usual. And also as usual, I'm starting out with my eyes, just because that's like the first place where green products are going to crease with me. So, yeah. And this is something this brush is really useful for, by the way. Okay, because it's bigger than the other one. And then for the rest of my face, I'm just going to use this large fluffy brush. Then it's time for contouring and blush and highlight. As you can see, hopefully you can see, I've already done one side of my face, so you can really see the difference between the worked on part and the part that's still just only powder and concealer and foundation. So yeah, I'm going to start out with the Big Bold bronzing powder by New York Color as usual, and just a stippling brush. And what I always do is just to apply most of the product on my cheekbones, because it's basically the part that I want to be like the most defined. And then just blend and blend and blend until it looks smooth. And then I just grab some more product for the other parts of my face that needs to be defined. But especially when my foundation is slightly too dark, I try not to use too much bronzer, because it only makes it darker. And then it looks like this. And then it's time for blush. For blush I'm going to use the Catrice Defining Blush in Think Pink, which is obviously a pink blush. And I always have issues opening these things. Okay. And just a, what's it called? Oh, large angled contour by Sigma, which I always use as a blush brush and never use for contouring actually, but oh well. And I just put it sort of like right above the shaper, and also a little bit on top of the shaper, so that part really stays the darkest. And then just blend and blend and blend. And then it ends up looking like this. And also I've decided I want to try to use more highlighters, because highlighters are really pretty, but I just don't use them often enough. So I'm using the Essence Crystallized highlighter, which is from a Christmas collection of like 3 or 4 years ago at least. And yeah, basically I think the newer ones by Essence work about the same, so you could always try those. But I'm just applying this with my fingers. It's like a product that does need to be blended really well, because otherwise you're left with just a white stripe on the face. But I do like that it works really well over powder. So yeah, if anyone's tried the newer Essence cream highlighters and likes them, I'd like to know about it. You know, if you have any like advice on which budget highlighters are pretty, then please tell me, because I'm really looking for more budget highlighters, because I barely have any highlighters, because I'm the sort of lazy person who never actually use highlighters. Like extremely lazy. I'm just too lazy to spend 5 seconds applying highlighter. But I want to start using more highlighters. Okay, for the eyes we're partly going to keep it simple, and then the eyebrow is going to stand out. I really want the eyes to be sort of, as you can see on this eye, sort of really natural but still sort of defined, and then I just want the eyebrows and lips to stand out in the end. So I'm going to start out with the Catrice All About Matte, of Absolute Matte, or Absolute Matte palette. And I'm only going to use this color and an angled brush to sort of define my eye at first, and then I'm just going to use a second color to sort of do an eyeliner type of thing. I have no idea what just happened to my voice. And it's blended really well, so it doesn't look too, I don't know, not too defined, I guess. I just want the eyes to stay really, really natural. Okay, that's about right. And then I'm just going to use a smaller brush, this one, and the brown color. And just press it between my eyelashes, a little on top of it as well. Or above it, I mean. To sort of define the eye a little bit more. Doesn't really need to look like an eyeliner or anything, because again I wanted to keep a little bit more natural, but yeah, it just looks better than if the eye doesn't have any like definition at all. And I really want this last part to be the darkest, and then I'm also going to use a little bit on the bottom of the eye. And just sort of blend it forward. Not going to drag it all the way to the inner corner. And yeah, that's it for the eye. I'm just going to put a little bit more on the other side, because otherwise it's not even. It's always the most important thing, whatever you do, make sure it's even. Unless you're trying to do an asymmetrical look, of course. Okay, that's about right. Yep. And then it's time for the eyebrows. For that I'm going to use, for some reason I'm going to use a different brush than I usually use for my eyebrows, because I don't want to end up accidentally painting my eyebrows the wrong color tomorrow morning. So I'm using a brush that I don't usually use, because it's less, I don't know, it looks less neat, I guess. And I'm going to start out with the white Jumbo eye pencil by NYX. And sort of put a base coat type of thing on my eyebrows. Doesn't have to be completely neat, as long as it's just there to like brighten up the colors. That we're going to apply later. Okay, that's about enough. Yeah, I'm just going to sort of wipe it out with my fingers a little bit. And yeah, then I'm going to use the Essence Quattro in Magenta on me. Because I'd like to keep this sort of budget proof, I guess. Well, I'm at it, besides the really nice colors, and I'm just going to use the palest shade of purple in it to define the front part of my eyebrow. And with the white underneath, this is just going to be way more like out there than without the white. But I mean, without the white it would look more natural, for as far as purple eyebrows would ever look natural. But with the white underneath, it is going to look way more bright. And I'm sort of just putting that until I reach like the part where almost like this part is. That makes sense. And just really try to make it look as even as possible. And then I'm moving on to the darker shade. And defining the tail of the eyebrow with it. And obviously I'm also just going to blend it a little bit, so just, you know, there's no like really like strong border between the two colors, but just sort of blend it together. And then it looks like this. Okay, for the lips I'm just using Color Lip Butter by Cien in the shade Wild Plum. And really any purple shade will do. You just need a sticky base because later it's going to be eyeshadow on top of it. And now I've moved back to the Essence Quattro. I'm just using the paler shade of purple and putting it on the center of my lips. Also on the bottom. And by now I've moved back to the darker shades. And I'm just really carefully defining my lips with it. The most important part of this is really make sure that you have like a really stiff brush. Because it will be obviously way harder with a fluffy brush. Okay, so this is a finished look. I have no examples of where you could actually wear this look because I have no idea either. In any case, I do hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye! Okay, this time I'm going to start out with a cream eyeshadow by Calvin Klein. I once bought this at a budget store who occasionally has like all sort of old collections from